them together, and they've got the gift of grab.
Oh yeah, Grabber Gang, we got a nice guest for you today, brother. We got Jenn Tibbenham from the UK. All right.
Welcome. Welcome, Jenn.
Wow.
Welcome, Grabber Gang. We're back. We're back for another episode of The Gift of Grab.
Yeah. Back and just as good as ever. So we're excited. We have a good guest here today. Another one that was highly requested as one of the first ones that we do. So we're making it happen for the people, you know?
Yeah, we're giving the people what they want, you know?
You guys should run for office.
One thing
Forget Biden, forget Trump. You guys need to run for office. You're listening to the people.
So again, just before we get into the meat of the stuff, my original goal was to be running for president in this cycle so that I could become president when I was 35. So that was originally my whole plan up until probably 8-ish years ago, I guess. And then I just nah, better not. So you're bringing up a sore subject. That's all I have to say. But
it's what I do. I'm controversial.
Get out of the way. And that's what we strive to produce here is as you've probably heard in previous episodes, a very controversial kind of atmosphere. We like to bring the drama more than anything.
Yeah, we like to pepper it in, you know, mostly funnies, questions to get to know our guest better, but don't shy away from anything controversial because it only creates more feedback and more people listening. So I'm here for it.
Now, Jenn, do you go by Jenn or Jenjamin?
It's Jenn. And if I'm really in trouble, it's Jennifer.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I got the wrong long form, I guess. That's
okay. Must be Italian, too.
Man, I was tripped up by those Italians.
All right. Well, Jenn, before we get started, we're going to borrow a line from our friend Poncho at Grip Sport Latino. Who is Jenn Tibbenham?
I love it. So, Jenn Tibbenham, crazy strength nomad that's gone from track and field, powerlifting, strong woman, international all-around weightlifter, fire truck puller, steel bender, and yes, loving you with Arm Lifting USA, and also Grip Sport International, also lawnmower racer. Anything else sports and sitting volleyball. Let's add that to the mix for 2023, 2024. So I'm a strength nomad and I just love to compete and keep on going. That's me in a nutshell. Mom as well.
That's
Mom.
a lot of stuff.
Yep. A Yankee that got lost, now living in another potato country part of England. That's also part of me too. Yes. Yes. And with 2 little boys that I've added to the English population.
An expat currently living in England. You know, how does it feel living in the UK with such a nice smile?
You're going to get some massive help points for that. You want to know what? The last, I would say, 10 to 15 years, I think people in England, they've upped their game on dental work because at the moment, I've even upped my game on my dental work. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? Wear your retainers. So I'm back to doing Invisalign shit that I never thought I was going to have to do. But yeah, I lost my retainers and then I didn't like what was going down on the lower, part of my jaw. And then I was just like, oof, need to get into that. But no, I think people in the UK, they're getting better with their dental work. But no, appreciate that. Like I said in a previous episode, I definitely still identify as American. I don't have the English accent. Yes, I use jargon every once in a while, but there's no way. And of course, still people call me out. They're like, oh, are you here visiting? It's like, no, I do live here, pay taxes, and I'm still one of you, but not necessarily sound like you.
Where are you from originally?
Mountain Home, Idaho.
All right. Okay. I figured it was Idaho after the potato comment, but Just wanted
Yes,
to confirm.
exactly.
So
Yes. Yep. And then, long story.
nice.
So Tammy and I, that's the thing, we lived probably 45 miles away from each other, kind of like growing up. However, I didn't meet her until college, and this was 2006. So we met together after like a party from, it was WAC, Western Athletic Conference Indoor Championships.
Oh,
All went drinking together, and then just kind of were Facebook friends. That's what you did in college, and then kind of reconvened.
yep.
I would say really like 2018 when we were kind of pregnant, and then the pandemic, and then I was like, you need to do grip sport, and no, and this is what strength moms do. You know, we just don't go for coffee. We still keep on hanging out with metal and iron.
So you got into grip sport or first, like while you were over there, or how did that come about?
I got introduced more to grip sport in England because in international all-round weightlifting, they have different records. They have like a 1-inch vertical lift, a 2-inch vertical lift, just on a bar. So, excuse me. The whole world didn't need to hear that, and I'm probably an expert. Just I was like the coffee. Nobody needs to hear that. And before I blow somebody's eardrum out, so from that, I just kind of went with it from international all-around weightlifting to kind of work on grip. And then I went to David Horn's European Championship in 2018. And then that kind of inspired things, definitely got out of my comfort zone, like nail breaking, like using the suede wraps and actually like busting a nail. I mean, it just seems like an incredible feat. You don't realize that.
Yeah.
And also some of the online challenges of doing like the still bending as well. So no, and I think that's where within the last few years it's kind of kept on just being open-minded out there. I've gone to Finland for a few grip competitions. So, and then I was supposed to go in Norway. I still went, and my mom, bless her heart, she flew out. Somehow I just had a back spasm injury. Luckily, nothing too serious. Didn't compete, but still enjoyed my time in Norway.
Nice.
Cool.
Have you been certified on anything on like the bending side, or like any of the Ironman nails, or?
No, not on the Iron My Nails. It's David Horn's list. I'm 5th in the world for at a certain bend. I think it was like 101, and then I have like a failure bar of like 120 kilos that I still have in like my little she shed, just because I think it's good to like remember you still have some unfinished business to take care of at some point. Not to sound like a mobster, but I do need to take care of that and clean it up at some point.
Yeah, makes sense. I have a question that, again, this is going to be one standard one that I want to bring out is your chosen walkout music for the big events. What's your song that you want playing for you?
I don't know, Middle Class Rut. Got a New Low. That's I just love like the guitar riff in it. Just
Yeah, get you jazzed.
Absolutely. No, it's really good. Or a throwback to high school of like
Nice.
AC/DC's TNT. So those would be my top two. It's a hard one.
Yeah.
Angst or Old
I feel
Metal.
like, I mean, anything AC/DC is
Angst or Old Metal?
those are the only options.
Yes.
Nice.
All right. So, I mean, to, I guess, jump off of that, like you have your walkout music and, you know, personally, your somersault at the Olympia was my favorite, you know, Jenn moment. I mean, do you think you would kind of do something with the song or just kind of like like bring them out, like here I am, or do you like any type of what would be your kind of go-to move to go along with the music? Or is that just like reserved for lifts?
So the somersault is definitely reserved for lifts, like either a PB just kind of had like this pinnacle, like, woo, look at me. I would still do the big, like, Ric Flair, woo! Like, you have to do this. Like, bring this back. I don't know, just this is what my older brother and I did growing up, is like WWF when it was still WWF with Hulk Hogan, the old, Macho Man, Randy Savage, Ultimate Warrior. So it's just something like my brother and I
Or the
do.
World Wildlife Federation got involved.
Yes. Not the World Wildlife. Not to be confused.
Yes.
Before they got sued. Yes.
Yeah. Before someone got butthurt, I'll say it. But no, that's where I think it comes from, that era.
The attitude era of
Nice. That actually is funny that you mentioned that, because one of the questions that I also came up with was like, what would be if you were in the WWE, what would your like your persona be, and what would your like, do you have like a wrestling name that you'd have picked out, or like who would you be besides Jenn Tibbenham?
I'm thinking, sorry, this goes back to a computer game. Like, I am also a little bit like of a closet gamer nerd, like back in the 90s.
Nice.
There was a spell from a computer game called Heroes of Might and Magic, and I think Holy Shout might be the name, just because I'm so loud. I think it might be fitting for that.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, that's good.
Holy shout.
That's good.
Yeah.
Holy shout. I don't know if I need to wear a nun costume or what, but we can roll with it.
There could definitely be an homage. Yeah, I think you could go with the kind of the black and white, and then maybe with like the I'm seeing it. It's obviously like, it shows off the guns and stuff, but it's still very much a nunnery type deal. I like that.
Holy shout, brother!
Oh, holy shout, brother.
Holy shout! Yeah, pretty awesome.
A lot of brothers.
Just lost my visor.
Yeah, I mean, you are known for your own, unique brand of entertainment you bring to contests. So I think, like, I would kind of love to see a little bit more excitement at arm lifting contests with music or something like that. Just like to show a little bit more personality. I know we're, crunched for time typically, but I think that would be my dream.
I totally agree with you on that. And that's where, do you remember my comment at the Arnold's? I was like, come on, let's make some noise because it sounds like a goddamn morgue in here.
Yeah. Yep. That was
I know,
you?
especially in the room at the end. It was just so quiet. I don't know. Like, if it weren't for you, I think might have been, I don't know, we might have lost some people to sleep there.
Well, I'm hoping that, eventually this gets big enough and people see there's enough, weirdos
Humor.
and fun people, in the sport, that they feel comfortable doing that. Like, I mean, say that half joking, but like, let's make it fun. Like, it's a fun thing to do. It's fun to just pick weird stuff up and put it back down, and like, let's all have fun with it. So
I know it's a hobby at the end of the day. I mean, no one's making a living off of it, so we got to have fun as much as we can. I agree. Team Clown.
It's just weird. Totally. Like, if you rewind, I love the Arnold, everything that's happened to make it grow. We were on stage, so here we were in a gym type atmosphere, and then it's like we got moved to the library of school or like somebody's study.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, they tried to get it at the Columbus Elementary School library, but they were booked up. They had like fencing in there or something. So next time.
The jousting, they actually ended their competition there, and then
because they have the rows of books. It makes it easier for the horses to line up and stuff. I'm sorry, Haley had a real question.
No, I mean, I'm kind of jumping all over the place right now. It's like a mix of grip questions and personality questions. So, I'm going to go right into my favorite. I'm switching it up slightly from the one I asked Mad Cow, but if you could plan a dream dinner date with grip athletes you find interesting or entertaining, who would be on your list? Now pick 5, and you can pick the Idaho crew, but if you want to mix it up and surprise some people, I'd like to hear outside of Tammy, Amy, and Sarah, but because they're kind of a given, but
Definitely. Just really, it would be interesting. Bringing out like Patty Luxner. Like she's kind of been quiet on the grips scene for the last few years, so that would be good to just say, hey, what's going on? Because she was really rocking like David Horn's grip thing, all the certifications. So that would be good to reconnect. Have that, just talk what's going on, what she sees going on with the sports. I think that's would be a go-to for sure, because she was rocking it for a while. And just see what's going on, what she sees, because I think without her involvement, especially in Germany and Austria, there's kind of been a bit of a decline. And that's the thing for me, there's puts a little bit of pressure on me. I have an athlete from Germany that wants to come to do my King Kong in Kent. So that's where, Patty, I know, has a lot of the gear, and just to say, hey, what's going on? So I'm happy to comply and say to people that, guess what? I have an international athlete coming to Kent. But, that's it. Still, when you do a competition, all that added stress to travel, accommodation. If you're a King Kong, I'm very lucky. I found a venue just, not even 15 minutes down the road from me. So that's one thing. So yeah, say, hey, what's up to Patty, and that. Definitely Carl. So a UK compatriot that the other way. Yeah, absolutely the other way. That's what everybody says. The opposite of what you guys are.
He could make all the mashed potatoes.
he could.
Dinner party.
You could.
Yeah.
He could mash
Come on,
anything
mate.
for
Put
you.
some chippies in the oven,
Yeah.
or we'll do some roasty potatoes, just like your homeland. Yeah.
Roasty potatoes.
Roasty potatoes. Yeah. So Carl talk about shot putting, kind of his former life, because that's the other thing. Like people still know his name in England when I've mentioned it, so that's where he still has a following. No, just kind of talk about the good old days a little bit, and then grippers. I'm sure I need to be a little bit more in love with grippers, so maybe he could inspire me a bit.
Now, why do you feel like you need to be more in love with grippers?
It's just
because I hear conflicting things. There's people who are like, don't mess with grippers as like a general rule. Like grippers don't do you any good in anything else. And then there's people who are like, yeah, you should probably get good at some grippers. And I guess maybe some of it has to do with whether you do like solely arm lifting or if you do like GSI stuff as well, because they do silver bullet type things. But is that more of what it comes from, or is it another motivation?
I think just the crossover as well. And to be fair, I was doing damn good until we had like the Arnold Corona pandemic games. That's where, and unfortunately, the arm lifting USA event that totally got aborted last minute, and then the Rogue Record Breakers, my husband and I were sitting in a hotel room in Pittsburgh. It was like, do we drive to Columbus? What do we do? Still really didn't have like the idea of what are we going to do. So that was just a bit frustrating. And I said, anyway, drop the F-bomb. And I was like, let's just go to Columbus. We could hang out with like Donna Moore. I just said, we just got to do it. And luckily that
I would say
came
that,
out.
Columbus is probably nicer than Pittsburgh.
I don't know. And that's the thing. I don't know. We went to...
Oh, I disagree. I spent 4 years in Pittsburgh, and I love that city. So,
Would you say it's a nice city?
I think it's much nicer than Columbus. There's much more to do. It's beautiful. I don't know. Maybe you need to see it again because
maybe it was a while ago, and it wasn't for very long. So maybe I got the bad end of Pittsburgh, but I was like, I'm okay leaving now. This is fine.
Yeah, no, yeah, I would disagree. I think Columbus, like, I think it revolves around, their teams or the convention center. I think, outside of that, there's good food,
Is there
and
a team there in Ohio?
the Blue Jackets,
The Buckeyes.
and there's,
Yeah.
Ohio State Buckeyes. I mean,
know.
I think it's a sporting town, and it's just got that Midwest feel. There's some good food there. I just like as far as pretty, I think Pittsburgh's much prettier personally.
Oh.
But I don't want to piss off
I've
anyone
seen
in Columbus because I'm on a trend of doing that. So
I was gonna say no, just keep going with it.
I love you, Columbus. Please keep bringing us back.
Please, Columbus. I love you and your blobs and inch bells.
Right, so I'm up to 2 people.
Gotta poke-
Sorry, reel it in, reel it in.
All right. Oh yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
So now on that note, Mad Cow. That's the thing. He was hilarious. Like his own pictures, signing them out. I loved it. It was like, guess what? You were gonna have my autograph. So I think that was a nice touch. That takes some balls. It's like, yes, you will do this. It takes a certain confidence, and it was cool.
Yeah, I never got one. I saw them making the rounds, but I was pretty bummed I didn't snag one.
Missed
Yeah, maybe.
out that time.
Who knows? But no, I just think that was cool, something different. So there was one video that almost gave me a migraine. He put like a filter on it, and I'm like, oh, I can't do it. Just stop with the filter. Just show me the normal video of just lifting, please. Just, I don't know.
Was it the one where there were like 2 or 3 of them?
I think so.
There was one that he did where it was like one here and one like on the side or something, and they were like one was right side up and one was coming from the other way, and yeah.
No bueno. No bueno. Tammy's coach, Yiv, the climber, and it's a French name. And I listened to a whole podcast because it's very interesting, and it was like a climber one. But it's the guy that basically won King Kong a few times, and it's like, yes, he was, or the North American.
YVES.
Yes.
Yves Gravel or
Yes.
Yves Gravel? Yeah.
Yes. Yep.
Yes, I've heard that
We're all
name.
showing our Americanness here with that, so.
Absolutely. And then Kathy, Canadian Kathy, that's where just, we still got to know each other, but I don't think not completely yet. So, and that's the thing, just really wholesome, good people. And we especially bonded on our trip in Ohio with our kind of skanky Airbnb. And then posing with a roll of toilet paper because our Airbnb didn't have any, and so we had to ask a gas station. So this is what you do. This is what Grip does. It puts you in different situations, and how are you going to react? It's almost like Candid Camera.
It's always an adventure.
It is.
I heard you mention that on the Grip show, and I was like, I need to know what happened there. So
basically, there's a pub next door, and like it seems to be a flop house next door. Easily guessed door code. I'm sure that place is almost like a safe haven for people to like got drunk, pulled a girl, pulled a boy, girl, whatever, had nighttime extracurricular activities, and like didn't care. There was like cigarette butts on like the windowsill. Just
where else are you gonna keep them?
What's that?
Where else are you going to keep your cigarette butts? It's not on the windows.
A beer can? I mean, have a little class, right?
Oh. Sorry, I was raised different. It's fine.
Just like I said, when Sarah went upstairs, she was like, "You guys, there's no toilet paper," and just I was just like, "Oh, okay, great." Yeah, and then when we opened the door, it just smelled like cat piss. So, and then stuff was crawling on the floor. The dryer looked like it hadn't been clean. There was like a razor in the dryer drum. Yeah, I mean, my God. Yeah. But
I mean, I have heard hearing the
But you
having the razor
got a great
blades hotter.
price.
yeah, great price.
Got a great price.
That's where I do laugh that I was like, hey, guess what, you guys? At least we didn't get scabies. You know, I'm trying to keep it positive.
Oh,
Yep.
silver lining.
Got
We
to.
didn't get a rash. We didn't get-
Indeed.
No STDs.
Oh, wouldn't that be something? You all couldn't compete because you just had some necrosis.
They all get up there
Skin
having the same general looking thing, and they're like, "Oh, are they part of? We're all just part of the same lifting team. It's fine. It's a tattoo we all got. Like, it's not a big deal. It's fine."
It's our uniform. It's
Yeah, sorry.
scabies
Yeah,
scars.
You've heard of some people get tattoos, some people get brands, we get scabies. It's
The scabies babies. All right, we're going off again. We're going off on a tangent. All right.
But we would have never gotten to scabies babies if we didn't.
No, you're right.
Right.
All right.
That's good. Yeah, no, I did go kind of like perusing your Instagram and stuff because like I'm relatively new to like grip and the grip world and people and stuff, and so I'm like, okay, like, you know, what has Jenn done that like I am unfamiliar with, or like what's she been a part of and stuff, and it looks like you do a lot of like interesting things with what you've got around, right? Like to train with and stuff. Like I saw you did the thing with like the ski erg where you put some grips on the ski erg, and saw another few things. So like what's your favorite like modification you've made to something that you have to use for train, and like what benefits, like do you feel like it worked? Was it just kind of a fun thing to try? Is there anything that you've like kept going after kind of experimenting with it a little bit, or it just looked like you've done a lot.
So I definitely say like the ski erg, I'm just trying to be a little bit more focused. I suffered quite a bit with some tennis elbow due to shot putting injuries, and of course, as you get older and you keep on doing sports, you wise up. So like yoga helped with that, and again, thick bar training also helped with my tennis elbow. So I just feel like keep doing thick bar stuff, and then to me, especially being a mom, trying to maximize the time in my gym, it's like do some thick bar stuff, just because I'm thinking you're just going to hit more muscles to go with that. The other thing I just have started to do, and this makes me sound like a grandfather, I bought fishing weights, so like magnetic weights. And so what I've done a few different things. So I bought smaller like fishing weights because at the Arnold's, sorry, I'm not going to try to flip you off or anything, on the vertical bar lift. Sure. Thanks, Will. I just heard that. Sure. So I do have a picture. The next day after the event, I had like a heart-shaped bruise in my palm of just the way my finger, guess what, Jenn? Ligament damage. Way to go. Let's hurt something else. So my finger's not straightening out, this index finger. So it's just not. I've had K-laser done to it, some soft tissue manipulation, but then I need to be, just wise with it. So I probably need to get a little bit deeper into like the pec minor, hopefully to affect this. But no, one guy just said keep on doing like extensions with it. So not just working on the curling factor, but hanging like fishing weights with that and trying to make that finger get up a little bit. So it just makes me sound a little bit old. But the magnets, what I was going to try to do, again, very small, 1/10 of a kilo weights. But I thought whether or not if I put the magnets on a different side of a loading pin or almost do like chains like people have done in powerlifting and strongwoman, to just try to get like a different balance to make sure for like a King Kong lift, to make sure that you can get those numbers, like those desired results. So it's just to make sure that you're
Mhm.
ready, and that if there's anything on the day that just feels uneasy, lopsided, that I've kind of thought about in an eventuality. So I recently just came up with this just because I thought, oh, why not? It's something different, but this is still in the early stages, and I'll happily either do a comment, a thread, or something to talk about that. I just thought there has to be something in it.
Yeah. No, that's not even a level that I haven't mastered the basics enough yet to be able to like, all right, what do I do if there's like a very small difference in the bar? I'm like, hey, I'd like to hit some like somewhat respectable numbers at some point. That'd be pretty cool. And so to hear like, you're on that level now where you're just like, yeah, like, okay, I know I'm going to pick up heavy things. What if one side is less as heavy as the other? And what do I do about that? And so it's cool to try to, see how to work around that. Like I know that I talk with Hunter Heath a lot and stuff, and he's a health coach, and he thinks a lot about a lot of different things. He's very smart and very like methodical about how he does things, and so I feel like you and he would probably have a lot to talk about in terms of like the way that you program, or the way that you think about those kind of eventualities, like you say. So that's interesting.
Definitely. And the other thing is bouldering. Like I said, it's, there's some people that just tenth of a kilo, this and that, like just really get on it. And I just think sometimes it can get really frustrating of like looking at numbers. I think going climbing, going and touching a wall, get your hands in a different position, that's versus like overtraining the same stuff, going to a wall, feeling different things, and it feels weird. Sometimes it's good to just say, okay, I've topped out like on that yellow today, and that's hard. I just think sometimes it's nice to have a visual representation of what you've maximized versus just a number. I don't know. Sometimes it's just nice to just get out of that rut.
Yeah, for sure.
It's a Bob Ross way of looking at grip, I guess.
Got some nice little fishing weights over here we can put on our bar.
I told the girls, like the Idaho crew, I was like, fucking A, this makes me sound like an 8-year-old. Like, just bought some fishing weights today.
Not at all. I think it's clever because not everybody has access to like the really thin, calibrated smaller plates. So like just trying whatever's available, and it's probably even cheaper to go that route with the fishing weights. I've never even considered that, but
yeah, same.
I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
Thank you.
All right, yeah, of course, moving right along. Obviously, Gods of Grip has kind of been huge in the UK lately as far as, promoting grip sport, grip strength. They just started their own podcast, which is really exciting. And I think their first guest was Rebecca. Anything about, Gods of Grip or the UK grip scene that you think that they're doing better than what we're doing, as far as Grip Sport International or Arm Lifting USA? Like, are they doing a better job being more accessible to people? Like what can we adopt from our friends across the pond, I guess?
That's a very good question. So I think, for example, having the asynchronous like UK Grip League for 2 months of that time period that you can get these in, and then how they collate the results, similar to King Kong. But it was funny when I first ran the UK qualifier last year. At first they were like, well, you need to use our stands. And I'm thinking 6 inches is 6 inches, no matter how you measure it. But of course, I know some men like to embellish about that 6 inches. But yeah. But I just said, thank you very much. I understand where you're getting at with the uniformity, but I just said I have some stands. I've run King Kong, which is a world recognized event, that I'm like, I think it'll be okay. So whether or not if we got an equipment, person, either Arm Lift Assassins did something like that. However, I know there's the frustration that not everybody has bought stuff from like the the arm assassins kind of group. So that's where that becomes a difficulty again. That's the one thing I can think of is that you have like a UK distributor that's kind of held the banner, and it has renewed grip sport within the UK, because how David Horn sometimes on his websites, I know he's a one-man band. I can't falter him whatsoever. And again, I think that's really homage is who we pay to in grip sport. But there would be certain things on his website that would say out of stock, and then you email him, when is this going to be restocked? And of course, how many of the gold bar do you try to get somebody to fabricate and hold and try to store in your own house? That's a very difficult feat when you're a one-man band. So I think we just either need, I don't know how that's going to happen. I guess Iron Mind has been the first part of trying to do, grip sport. However, it's just because it just seems like it's still so far out of reach in a way that it's just the hub, the Iron Mind block, and of course the silver bullet, and then paying $190 for the 2.5 kilo plate. I think that's what's made it inaccessible for people to try to run like a pure Iron Mine grip competition from that.
Yeah.
Just to have a 2.5 kilo plate that's $190, everybody would just eek. That's not affordable. It's not like picking up a baseball
What do you pay
bat.
for your 2.5 kilo plates? That seems right in line with what people have charged me. So I have one of the most expensive home gyms on the planet, but a total weight stack is about 11 pounds. So it's one of those things. No, I agree with that. And in like, I remember when I did powerlifting and stuff, like they had, all the events like within like USAPL, they would have a list of like approved vendors. So like you could have something like that in grip where you could say, okay, you can buy from Nemesis, you can buy from the Arm Assassin, and either AUSA or GSI has worked with these guys to say these are the standards we need to meet for these bars, and as long as they're meeting them, they meet those standards, they're an approved vendor, you can use it. Like I think that I'm a fan of standardization. I think it makes it more legitimate. It makes it where there's less controversy. It makes where things can be accepted more readily. And so I'm totally on that page.
Absolutely, because even like asking some of the girls before, Super Series, okay, what does your Saxon bar weigh empty? And it's like, okay, mine is 28, but Taylor's was 31, or what? So.
Yeah.
And that could even be from the same shop, because obviously you can't, iron is iron, and you're not going to be exact. But as long as the measurements are the same and everything's weighed, and you write like an approved list of vendors or acceptable places to shop from just across the board would be helpful. And, some of the implements are super inaccessible and super expensive. So, that's where the creativity with training comes in too. Like Jenn is using different things and different ways to get a similar workout. And, I think we all have to do that once in a while and jerry rig stuff up to make it work. But, yeah.
That's cool. So is there anything else? Sorry, I think we went into standardization and one vendor kind of thing. Anything else from your side of the water there that we should try to bring over here, like on the Mayflower or something like that?
I don't know. That's interesting, because that's where, for a while, like I know Finland with the Finnish ball, they were like, no, you only need to use only accept the Finnish ball from Finland. And however, I think there must have been a discussion on the grip board to be like, okay, no, we need to have other people make the Finnish ball to make it more accessible.
Mm-hmm.
But the other thing,
I know Pencha's doing a lot of that.
Yeah, no, and that's cool. The other thing I was going to mention that Ricardo was good for me about, because I had the original Finnish frame for the Country Crush, because the Finns were the one that did the double hand, and that's where I spoke to Ricardo to say I'm not paying another $100 for the same thing, that it's the same thing. All I'm going to do is switch out nylon rollers, and that's where at the Arnold's I asked Zane to buy another roller for it to do like the Country Crush two-hand, because I just thought I'm not paying another $100 for stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of the things about grip is it's like you almost have to have this like priority list of like the next implement you want to get because there's 1,000 implements and any one of them could be contested really at any time for anybody. And so it's like, okay, if you've never done it before, then you're going to be at a disadvantage to somebody. And it's like, it's fun. That's what makes it fun, right? Like there's so much variability. And for someone who can't stay on task more than like 30 seconds, like it's really great to be able to train a bunch of those things. But yeah, it'll nickel and dime you to to bankruptcy, especially if everything has to come international or has to come, some other way kind of thing. So
absolutely. The other thing is when I tell people about grip, what's interesting is how you have the implements, the mental game of what you're going to lift on stage, and then competing against other people. But then I tell them about like seasoning, like we have chemistry in our sport of, patina, throwing stuff out there, and how, for example, I'm on the coast and how I'm probably going to get stuff to rust better than, folks in the Midwest. So then you can say that really, how is it equal for seasoning when you do King Kong? I mean, this is where it kind of gets a little bit technical.
Mm-hmm.
That's, I don't know that's ever going to be able to be standardized. What we'll do, we'll have a set list of bars, and they're all kept under lock and key in California or something, and you have to rent them out for your competition, and then everyone's using the same bars. So it'll be perfect. There'll be no issues with that whatsoever.
No, I mean, it's impossible. Even with Super Series, it's impossible because somebody could have a heavily seasoned hub and you could be like, I just got this for this contest and it's fresh out of the box from Grip Genie. And there's no way to do it. And I think that's why the bigger contests are so important, because it's like, okay, like the Arnold's, a huge stage and there's the best athletes from all over the world coming, or if they can make the trip. And, then we'll see where everyone stands because we're all using the same thing. So I think that's a better indicator. But I don't know what I'm trying to say.
I get what you're saying.
I think you got it. Yeah.
Yeah.
The virtual contests are really cool, but they are hard for sure to make sure that everyone across the world is using, is getting the same advantages or getting, lifting like those weights. Someone lifts, 125 on the Country Crush somewhere. They might be in a humid place where they get a little bit extra tacky there on their hands because of that. And then you get someone who's dry and they lift 115 or 120. And it's like, okay, well, they might have lifted 125 if they had been somewhere where they stick a little better. So it's cool.
All right, you're up, Will.
Yeah. So switching out from grip, I think everyone wants to know which kid's your favorite. We ask the hard-hitting questions here. You've got two, so you have to pick one.
Sophie's choice.
Joey is showing grip sport tendencies every single day. Owen, I think he might be a basketball or long jumper, but I can't decide. They're funny. So Owen is almost 5, and he'll be turning 5 at the end of the month. And Owen and I actually share a birthday. So, and then I'm turning the big.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, it wasn't meant to happen like that. He was supposed to be like the 23rd of July, and just he wanted to hang out still for a little while. But and then I'm turning the big 4-0 as well this year. So now some big celebrations coming up. And then Joey, he is turning 3 the end of September. So we still have a lot of years of competing ahead of us. So no, I'm looking forward to that.
Does he have like a little kettlebell or something in his in his bed to kind of encourage that? Because I just load up little little 5-pound kettlebells and stuff, and hoping that he'll get a knack for it along the way.
So it's interesting that like Joey's done a lot more hanging lately, and I haven't pushed that whatsoever. I'm like, what is this? Like, he might be, like, watch out, SAS. Like, you just have a badass that's going to be recruited in like 20 years. So we'll see. Or the, the British Commandos. Like, we'll see what happens. Excuse me. A few years ago, I have a picture of Owen. And he has a popsicle in the other hand. And on his left hand, he's like crushing the IM Tug 2. So I'm just like, what the hell? It's Reed. Just he's like doing it. And that's where I just have stuff, and this is where my she shed. I'm like, whatever you want to do. But the boys have always loved to have like chalk messes. So it almost looks like Whitney Houston's like house in the 90s of like all the cocaine all over her house, but it's just chalk.
White everywhere.
Yeah, just white. But there's my health points, racking up those health points. But no, just my kids.
Again, that's what we're here for.
Absolutely. But no, my kids have always loved chalk messes, and just exposure to different sports. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, I'm slightly worried, not worried, but like, it's my oldest, and he's like 6.5, and he likes to be like really strong and stuff, but like he can pick up he can almost lock out my 70-pound kettlebell. I'm like, hey, good job, buddy.
Yeah.
But like, no interest in hanging. Like, I'm like, hey, like pull-ups are good too. Like, you should get some of those in. And he's like, I don't feel like it. I'm like, I get it, but like, what if we tried? And he's like, nah, I'll just go pick up these things. And we did he worked out with me in the garage, while he was home earlier on in the summer and stuff. And I was like, all right, we're doing these curls and stuff. I was like, we're gonna do 8 on each. And he goes, I'm gonna do 100. And I was like, well,
love it.
And he's out there with 50 on each. And I was like, okay, hey man, you rocked it. And he's like, yeah. And he wanted to work out with me all that week. I was like, he's like, when are we going to work out? It's like, here in a little bit. And he was out there, and it's fun to see him get into it and figure out what they like to do and what they don't, and what they're good at, and areas of improvement. We won't have any real athletes on our roster here, but that's okay. We'll have some stronger guys. So.
Don't you ever say that. No, do not doubt your kids. Not at all.
You don't know yet. I mean, like, my daughter picked 2 sports I have zero expertise or knowledge in at all, and she did not want the ones I excelled at. She was just like, I'm doing my own thing, and now I'm supporting her, and I'm super clueless about it, but I'm psyched for her either way.
I
just think, yeah,
that's my same attitude. Okay. Like, whatever's gonna light them up like a Christmas tree, like grip does to me, or competing in general, like, that's it.
Yeah, just go for it. Go for whatever it is, and I'll support it. I just won't have any idea how to help you.
Yep. That's how it's going to go.
As an expat, Jen, can you now convert freedom units, kilograms, and stone?
Good question.
So that's the thing. When I talk to people, like, I even try to do the 3 measurements so they understand, like with stone. And that's the thing, 1 stone is 14 pounds. So definitely the kilograms to pounds, pretty good. Just every once in a while, just the precision's a little bit rough. So then I'm like, definitely times 2, and then add a little bit. So from that point of view.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But stone, that's the thing. And of course, people are like, what is that in stone? And so then that's where it's like, all right, let me get Uncle Google calculator out and go for it. Yeah. So it definitely, so guess what? I'm almost part of the drug cartel. Like, how much cocaine is that in stone?
Who measures predominantly in stone still? Like who asks you for what's that in stone?
Still in England, like, so for example, even on like women's magazine, like how to lose a stone by summer. So it's really still utilized in the public eye.
Oh, interesting.
I know it kind of seems old
Yeah,
folky.
doctors. It's mostly weight, I feel like, but like body weight. Where I've seen it, and I obviously don't live there, but lots of reading and visits over there. So, all right.
Yeah. I'm again out of questions and just here for the ride. So if you have more, we can do
Bless
that,
you.
or we can.
No,
we can
yeah,
see
I really had like another just like English, like living over there, like acculturation wise. I mean, is there anything English like you've adopted other than some of the slang? Like, is there an accent that's your favorite that you've heard? Like, do you like Cockney? Do you because they crack me up and I could listen to
Who
them all
doesn't?
day. I know. Or like, do you actually enjoy mushy peas, beans on toast?
Yeah, definitely. So we can talk about all that if you want to. It's interesting. So
We don't
my
have
dad,
to go into it, certainly,
I want to
but
hear the beans on toast answer.
beans on toast, that's like a dinner thing. For me, people could eat that for breakfast, but that's not my cup of tea. However, it's
Why, though?
not. So my dad, growing up, he would have beans for breakfast. He's part Italian, so that's where I guess it hasn't been too weird for me to see beans in the morning, just because my dad had them for breakfast. Always like a bean eater. So that's a little bit weird, but I've just seen it all my life, accustomed to it, no problem. Mushy peas, I do like to have with my fish and chips. That's no problem. I like it. Sometimes my kids here and there, and then my mom, she also likes it when she comes and visits. So squash, not that I'm talking about the vegetable. Squash is like a fruit flavored additive to water because I don't know, it's certain waters are just not great to taste on its own. So that's where they've developed squash. So there's different flavors. So like summer fruits, cherries, lime, lemon, apple, and black currant. And that's where my kids like to have it. And then it's funny, when I went to Orlando for Mr. Olympia, I even brought like a little bit of squash just to kind of keep the hydration levels up. And the other thing is that squash is nice to almost do like a non-alcoholic beverage, like a mocktail. It's kind of nice to have. So
Is it
just
like
for like
infused water, or is it just like an actual mix?
so it's a mix, and what's interesting is that a lot of it they sell as no sugar.
Oh,
So you get like the big bottles and then you just dilute it down. And especially like when it's hot outside, I like to taste something. So then like my go-to is the summer cherry, like the summer berries, like the red. And then sometimes, now that it's summer, put a little bit of lime. And then somehow just tonight, I had like some kombucha that was peach and strawberry, and it tasted like a margarita. I'm like, damn.
Probiotics and deliciousness. What?
So I know, like, holy hell, maybe I missed my calling at a mixologist somewhere. Maybe I need to open like a little place up in London when I win the lottery or something, that just be like, Jen's Elixirs, make it sound like from the Victorian era, but it is what it is.
we did submit like on our Instagram page, obviously the questions from our audience. I wrote them down. And
Cool.
Will, I don't know if you did or
I've
did
got
you?
it pulled up here.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, we can just, go one for one here. We had, Tammy asked a question. If Jenn were to host her own podcast, who would be your first guest?
Ooh, Wow. That's a great question. It's a really, really good question. If we're talking
What would your
about
podcast
like,
be about to add on to that? Would it be grip or would it be something else? And then does that influence your first guest?
Now it just got way harder. Like she
I
was
know, I'm
struggling to
sorry.
begin
It's
with,
just-
and now you're.
I like to kick people when they're down.
Yeah.
that's what it felt like. It did
I
feel
like-
like it was almost like, yeah, it was almost back to wrestling again. Like, just fell off the cage from the cage match, and then the guy's getting like one of the chairs, and then like just totally whacking him in
Yep.
the ribs with it. No, that's exactly what that felt like. Will, like, damn.
And Andre the Giant just comes and sits on you.
Absolutely. Yeah, exactly. I think it would have to be like either random obscure sports if I did like a podcast, or
Ooh,
people that
I love that.
yeah. That's the other thing. Haley, you would love this. From they do like ice volleyball. Like we're in a world now of like playing volleyball in the cold. Just crazy. Like
That
I don't know.
sounds dangerous.
It does sound dangerous.
Extremely dangerous, but I would definitely give it. I would definitely give it a go because the hot weather is just killing me right now. So ice sounds like heaven. I would be there in a heartbeat. Any uniform you want, I'm there.
Yeah, so I mean something like that, either like obscure sports or just people coming back from like hard injuries from sports, anybody, or possibly people that have had to divert, that they were doing able-bodied sports and then got into like Paralympic sports. I've had the pleasure to meet Mickey Yule. He was a British serviceman who unfortunately stepped on a landmine in Afghanistan, and he took like 4th in Rio on the bench press. So just very
Wow.
interesting, and he signed my weightlifting shoes.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
Yeah, so something like that. It's just people's mental toughness that really just, I don't know, bewilders me, and trying to see how you get up when you're absolutely think that you're in the 9th level of hell.
Yeah, like how like the human spirit and just willpower to like, no, like I'm not done. I still have more to give, and bouncing back from that dark mental space to, even get out of bed, learn how to walk again or move, and let alone compete and go after a new goal entirely. I think it's an amazing thing in the Special Olympics and the sitting volleyball you did. And, I love those programs and I'll always support them. So I'm glad that that's a passion of yours because it's a wonderful thing.
Huge.
Will, do you want to take the next one from any of them? I guess I went out of order.
Sure. Well, I'll go with Mad Cows because it's an easy one. It feels weird to go to this one from that answer, which was so good. But he wants to know where you get those gummy strawberries that everybody had at the Arnold.
Straws.
Straps. I should ask them to, like, next time I go and compete, like, hand them out or like take pictures. I should. Why not? So Haribo, they're in the supermarket everywhere in the United Kingdom, so you can get them at like your convenience stores, supermarkets, like a Dollar Tree type store. They call them B&M stores around in the UK, so they're everywhere. So, and that's where it's funny when my mom came home, and I know when I'm gonna see the girls when we do the stage 2 for the Summer Grip series, I was like, Mom, like, I made sure that she took some home, so I already have a stockpile in Idaho.
So they're Haribo?
Yes.
Yeah,
But it's
you
funny,
can get
you
them
can't buy
online.
them
I
stateside.
ordered them. You can. There is Etsy. There is
Okay.
an
Well, I was gonna say,
Etsy
there's
page
Haribos
where
up
you can.
everywhere.
Yeah, but there's an Etsy page specifically where you can buy like snacks from other countries, and like that's their whole deal. And immediately after the Arnold, I ordered from it. So I will find the link and I will share it
Yeah,
because I
please.
love Haribo. I love anything gummy candy. So no, I immediately did that. And yes, I will hook you up, Mad Cow, and anybody else who wants to know. But Taylor Kraus, Barbarian Barbie, if you could lift in any country, where would it be and why? So obviously you've been all over, but what's one place you haven't gone, and why is it at the top of your list?
Yeah, very good question. Japan, just definitely just something completely different. Society, just a huge like cultural collective, just something that's totally beyond us. And I love it how like on a Saturday they go to the schools and clean up, and I think that teaches social responsibility that seems to be lacking, I feel like, in our generation, both in England and the United States. So there just needs to be more of a societal awareness.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, very good question. And of course,
That would be cool.
yeah, and I spoke with like Poncho that there's starting to be like a huge grip kind of growth in Asia. And as you've seen, like Ricardo, he's going to South Korea. So, I mean, exciting times for the sport again.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. She had another question, and she wanted to know if you could design a grip implement to make people uncomfortable, what would it be?
Ooh, that's cool.
I don't know if that's just like it's uncomfortable to lift, or if they feel uncomfortable lifting it, like
Like
grip
a
genie.
phallic shaped.
Yeah, like the grip genie big pee or whatever they call it, like which I absolutely hate, by the way. But anyway, what would yours be?
I was thinking about this the other day. Like, we need to develop, and I even gave the idea to somebody, and I'm happy that somebody wants to use this, and if they want to try to fabricate it, almost like a teapot. Because if you get a big enough teapot shape,
Oh yeah,
it does wobble a little bit. So I mean, I'm throwing it out there. If anybody, if Gods of Grip wants to do that, or Nathan Hall, since he wants to do that, fabricate it, great. Do a teapot. Or the other thing I found on the beach one time was a rock that was almost like a clog. So just having like a thumb kind of impressed type thing. I still have that damn rock somewhere because I was like, that's kind of cool. If just put like an eyeball in there, that would have been different. So just something irregular feeling on the hand is just good. But again, I don't know, you could almost do, what is it, the pentagram? That makes people uncomfortable. Lift it like that. I don't know.
Yeah,
Or...
points. My witchy stuff. I'm here for that.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's a possibility.
I like the teapot, because then you add part of the standard is you have to recite "I'm a little teapot" before you can put it down in order for the lift to count.
I
So
love
you
it.
get these big guys, you get Carl, you get Alexi, you get all these guys up there, and they're just like, "I'm a little teapot, short and stout." And you gotta get through the whole thing before they can set it back down on the ground. It's the standardization.
Yes.
I mean, like I did Stein holding last summer, and that was
nice.
Similar, but I feel like the teapot with just the imbalance. I think that's really adorable, and it's perfect because you live in England.
Yeah.
We'll call it the
And that's why they say British, because there's no T. All right, and we have one from Claire, one last one. So if there were a sport you could try once, completely unrelated to your current or past athletic activities, and without worry or injury, cost of gear, what's one thing you have not tried that you want to try next?
There's always a few. That's the thing. It's still on my bucket list to do Highland Games, and I know it's kind of a piss poor excuse since Scotland's just north of me. I need to do it. There was one time in 2011 or 2012, I got sick with pneumonia. I bought the kilt from Sports Kilt. And unfortunately, I think it like arrived late, but I was just absolutely sick. But no, doing a Scottish Games is definitely one of them. Archery, I don't know, I really got into watching it during the Tokyo Olympics. And again, more shoulder stuff, maybe from throwing, that would be a predominant, like a possible strength for me. That would be cool. Another thing, curling. Curling seems pretty cool again. I like playing I have shuffleboard at the bar when I'm home stateside. But there is actually a rink, I think an hour away from me in England, and England only has one curling rink in the whole entire country. It's in Tunbridge Wells. So I keep saying to a few people, we need to do this, we need to do this, and then either some people drop out. It just needs to be a definite that you just need to go for it. So curling would be pretty badass to try as well.
Yeah, curling's big where I live. Just any ice sport, really. So I think you'd be a natural at it, though. Like, there's a lot of yelling. You're allowed to be loud. There's like a lot of. I mean, I think that's a perfect fit, personally.
Yeah, that's right.
I could definitely see you in the Winter Olympics, just like becoming like just out of nowhere, just good at it. And like Jenn Tibbenham is just like on the U.S. curling team. I could see it.
Thank you. Beep.
Yeah,
Beep.
that tracks.
Cool.
I like it.
Yeah. No,
Like,
good questions,
yeah.
audience.
Yeah, that'd
That
be
was
good.
a good one. Yeah, good questions, audience. Thank you.
Yep. We're always we got a lot of questions for you compared to kind of when we did some of these other ones. So people really want to know what you think about lots of things. So good.
Mm-hmm.
It is good. It just makes me realize I'm not a complete asshole.
Nope.
Not at
We
all.
didn't. We did get a few of those. Why are you such an asshole? Like that was like at least 6 or 7 of them came in like that. But we
had to cut them off after a certain point. So
Absolutely.
no, I think they were actually meant for me, but some of them.
Don't say that. No, not at all. No, you guys have done great work. Great work all around. And that's the thing, isn't it? It's that awareness, either, on the social media and just having, again, the podcast to, like, just shout it out from the rooftops and what's going on in the world. No, great stuff. Even with Grip Sport Latino, that's been fantastic as well. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of good vibes around the sport lately.
Yeah, no, and it's growing, and everybody has kind of like their own spin on things, and I think it's awesome. Like, just ours, and then Gods of Grip, and like Grip Sport Latino, and Zach's show, and even Jed's newsletter. There's like, everybody has kind of their own influence, and Ricardo's YouTube interviews, and I think it's great because it just helps it be more accessible as a sport. When you punch it in Google and then a bunch of stuff comes up and it's not as obscure anymore. Even when I started, and I haven't even been at this long. So I think it's amazing. And you've made the rounds as far as the podcasts and stuff like that. So we're honored to have you on ours, and we're glad you could join us and we could make the time difference and schedules work.
Yes, indeed, and so close to 4th of July. I'm sure that's tough to celebrate over there, but we appreciate being willing to do it.
Definitely. Well, the other thing that was weird is I voted on the 4th of July. That was the big thing in the United Kingdom. So they vote on a Thursday versus how we, in the United States, we vote on a Tuesday. So that was just a bit weird. I'm like, I never thought I was ever going to vote on the 4th of July. So yeah, I don't know if that's a weird bucket list thing. Just, it just really random how that happened.
Yeah. Did you bring like any weapons to the voting booth or anything? Like, just be like, I'm technically an American. This is kind of how we do this on the 4th of July. Like, this is how we did it before. Is this not how we do it now? Where's the tea, kind of thing?
Just fireworks.
Yeah.
Well, in the UK, you do have to bring a valid ID card. So I brought my driver's license, and that's the other thing. On my driver's license in the UK, it does say the United States on it. So I didn't know if somebody was going to say anything or question, talk
You
about
can't
that
vote
point.
here.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the thing. So I did become a citizen. So that's where I thought definitely do that. And so now my boys, they're dual citizens as well. That's their choice. And we'll see what happens in the future. But just the work-life balance, I'd say, is very good. Just more annual leave. And that's where, like, when you get sick, for example, in the United Kingdom, like, you can self-certify for 5 days without having and going and seeing a doctor.
Mm,
So it's just
nice.
very different. There's some things that are really slow, like buying a house. Oh my God, that was just really stressful of you don't know when in the planning, just yeah, crazy, just lawyers and not doing paperwork. I don't understand how you can buy a house in the United States. It seems pretty quickly, and then over here it just seems to be a saga.
Well, you have to make sure you're not taking it from the Duke of Hampshire, and yeah, that his family doesn't have a claim to it, and all that kind of stuff as well. So there's lineage and all that thing, and we don't really care. You know, this was Grandma's house. She died last week. I'm gonna sell it to you. You give me that money, good as yours, pal.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
yeah, no, that's something. What brought you over there? Sorry, this probably was an earlier in the interview question, but I'm just curious.
Oh, that's fine, totally. So my husband and I, we met off of like a gamer chat, ICQ. That's what people were doing before MSN and like Yahoo chat. So ICQ was like the gamers chat
Mm,
in the late 90s, early thousands. And one night I searched male 16 United Kingdom, and first time we chatted, like we were on ICQ for like 4 hours. Just kind of had it, like
nice.
it just chatted for a long time, and yeah, just kind of back and forth. And then we decided to meet. Like Graham flew over, and yeah, stayed with us for 11 days, and yeah, for a long time it was back and forth. So a bicontinental relationship. Yeah, some expensive phone bills, or the time that you had to use
Yeah,
calling cards. So calling cards, oh my God, that's like
yeah,
old. Makes me feel old to say that. But yeah, so just back and forth. And at the time, Graham's parents were means tested, and like that meant that they weren't making enough money. So at the time, Graham actually went to school on university grants. So he really didn't have to pay for his university. And then I had like my track scholarship through Boise State University. So we just kept the long game of just like, I know it sucks, but we just have to like get our priorities straight before, we can be on the same country, wherever that may be. But at the time, because he had the job, and just for me, unfortunately, the recession hit. So then I went back to school and got my master's degree online. However, I was in England while carrying out my master's degree. So did that, and again, working through time zones, and it was nice. So for example, like doing my homework, I felt like 7 hours ahead from Boise. I kind of had a little bit of a cushion to just keep working to those deadlines. And then decided
yeah,
to be in the United Kingdom because it was an easier way. Like it's easier for an American citizen to get UK citizenship versus someone from the UK to get US citizenship, because that's, what is it, 7 years, I think.
mm.
So at the time
Takes
it was
7 years
three
to get
years
citizenship.
for someone
Yeah,
to
the other
get
way.
US citizen.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But at the time, for UK citizenship, I just had to be in the country for 3 years and then take a life in the UK test. But now it's 5 years.
Was beans and toast part of that?
And marmalade.
No.
And
Marmalade.
stop drinking coffee, only tea. Yeah.
Nice.
I
Yeah,
know.
Yeah, no, it's interesting.
definitely.
I was just curious.
Yeah, no
But
problem. No, definitely. And it was really frustrating to try to like find a job. I had like a master's degree. Like I even tried at the supermarket. They wouldn't let me have it. Just, oh, it was so frustrating trying to get a job. And yeah, I never thought working at a nuclear power station was part of my career goals, but it happened. And being a forklift driver and yeah, working in a warehouse and then progressing into working into training and teaching people to dress and undress in contaminated areas on plant. Not to sound
All
like a
right.
stripper.
That could have gone a couple different ways. So
I'm
yeah,
sure that could have.
that's good.
Just make that the
Yeah.
sound clip.
I teach people how to dress and undress. More from Jenn Tibbenham. Tune in. Yeah.
I don't take myself
if you're
seriously.
just joining us. Yeah.
Nice.
Good. Yeah, no, that's good. Well, I don't have, that was my only other question that just came up for the moment, but I don't know, Haley, if you got anything else you want to cover before we get to the upcoming events that we have notice of, at least.
Yeah, no, that was everything from our audience, everything I wanted to ask. Yeah, like I said, we're just, happy to have you because you have a unique perspective on things, just the amount of international travel you do between our contests and, the European Grip League and
all of the other things that you're a part of that we didn't really even get to get into.
we didn't even get to get into, but
we need like a 3-hour
a 3-hour
thing.
window.
Yeah.
Oh, we could have a Jen Part 2 episode. I think that's valid
totally,
because you got a lot to say, and I think people are just interested because you do so much.
Thank you. Well,
That's what makes you such a good guest.
Well, thank you. No, I appreciate it. I can always come back on a second time, do anything else, and no, I really appreciate it, and it's nice. It makes you feel better that people appreciate my perspective and my experiences. So, and I'm happy to share that. But no, it's just, guess what? We only have one life to live. And that's the thing. I'm lucky I work at a company that gives me generous annual leave. And I'm like, guess what? We're going to do some fucking cool shit with that annual leave and tell some stories. Just be a good role model to my kids and other people that it's like, guess what? Take some time out to, do some community things, volunteering, charity things, but just also to compete.
Yeah. You do. I mean, we have one life to live. Let's get weird with it. Let's just do it. We're in the similar school of thought, Will and I, and that's why we are so excited to have you. So,
for sure.
We appreciate it. And as far as upcoming contests, we did cover a lot of them last episode, but like you said, Will, there's one by you coming up.
Yeah, there's the Greenville Grab next weekend ish. Yeah, up in I guess it's technically in Malden, South Carolina. But these are on the Armlifting USA website. So that one's gonna have it's one that I wish I could go to because it's gonna have Saxon bar, which obviously I hate. I've made that pretty clear. And then there's also some gripper stuff. I like grippers. So there's a gripper close. There's going to be a inch dumbbell medley. So that's going to be part of that as well, which gives you a chance to. I couldn't do a full inch probably, but I'd like to see how far through I could get on it. So you can have that opportunity as well. But yeah, that's coming up next weekend. I think they're still accepting people. And then there is another competition in Finland on July 20th. So that I'm not even going to try to pronounce where that is. But it is in Finland. I know that, and it's on the Armlifting USA website. So if you guys want more information on that, have a look. So those are the immediate future ones.
And there is an all-female feather crush grip contest. Ran up in Ottawa. The guy Andrew from Nemesis Grips is running, and I think that's really cool. Just an all women's contest, and he's participating in the Grip Con 2. There's Dub's Grip Classic in July that we talked about. And I mean, just with a lot of venues closing up their Super Series in June, we'll have a lot more announced for August. So for right now, those are the next closest ones. So good luck to everybody competing. And guess final thoughts. We'll see you next time.
Yeah, give everybody a few minutes back in their day. And you know, we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Just thanks everybody for all your questions. Really enjoyed it. Yes, thought-provoking as always. Hopefully things will make into a reality. Maybe we'll have a pentagram lift. Why not? I'm loving that. But no, thanks so much. And definitely you guys, your time to, spread the word of Grip, la palabra de Grip. That's why I said it with Poncho. But no, definitely very fun, you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yep, thanks for coming on. All right, Grabber Gang. Next time, more saluting. Yep.
America.